probably seen me after that video that I uploaded where I was crying. It's mental illness, isn't it? Hi, my name is Alyssa, and I will be talking about the very minimal books that I read in February and what I thought about them. But as I say every month, I always hope that the next month will be big and bad and beautiful, and I will be reading all of these things. And I regret to inform you that that did not happen. I don't think it ever does. I think I have maybe 1 or 2 good reading months out of the year anymore, and then the rest just disappear into oblivion. I did want to say though, if you're watching this video, thank you for watching it. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it. I do this because I like it. I like talking about books. I like looking back and seeing what I thought about books. And honestly, these videos, they give me something to do. They help me to keep my mind off of things a lot of the time. So making videos, uploading them, and anybody who comments or watches, I appreciate you. I read a whopping 4 books in the month of February. I had tried to participate in the Woody's Roundup readathon. I'll just skip past that part. I didn't really participate in the readathon. I just said I did in the beginning of the month and then didn't do anything about it. Here we are, and I'll tell you kind of where I can fit in challenges. I'll pull from the TBR jar for March. I don't know. I'm not participating in any readathons in March because I haven't been watching videos, so I don't even know what's going on. So first, we'll go in the order that I read these books, and then I will talk about challenges and what I completed. First book that I read in the month was a short story, and that was The Dream by Agatha Christie. This was a Hercule Poirot. I cannot speak. It was a Poirot short story, and it was good. It was good. I liked it. I gave it 4 to 5 stars. Honestly, for an Agatha Christie book, I have not read many. I will preface that. This was one of the better ones, and I was kind of surprised because it was a short story, so I wasn't expecting much, but it was actually really good. Yeah, I really don't have much else to say. The next book is a book I kind of still have mixed feelings about. Am I ever not adjusting the camera angle mid-video? The next book is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. And I gave this 4 to 5 stars. This was a very interesting book. I will give it that. I guess like I left the book with the thought of, you did this for what? I get the main character. I was like, you did this, why? Like, why did you do this? The whole idea behind the whole novel, which if you read it, then you know what I'm talking about. I'm just like, you did this for what? What were you trying to prove? Where were you trying to go with this? Where were we trying to end up? I really don't know the point of the novel, I guess. I think that's why I can't be a full 5 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it. I did think it was incredibly weird. And I guess if you're looking for like a really weird, definitely creepy classic, then I do recommend this. I mean, it's definitely creepy and it's definitely weird and it's not long, but overall I did enjoy it. It was a very good reading experience. It was creepy. It was not scary, but definitely weird. The next book that I read is A Letter to My Daughter by Maya Angelou. I hope I'm saying her name right. This was one of her like collection of like essays slash like just her talking about her life. I don't feel comfortable rating this, especially considering the things that were in it. I've decided that I'm not gonna from now on rate books that are people recounting their own experiences. I can give my thoughts and say, hey, this is how I felt, this is what I felt about, you know, whatever, you know, did I enjoy it, did I not, was I meant to enjoy it, that type of thing. Was it well written, that type of thing. But I've just decided that I'm not going to rate them because I just don't think that it's my place to rate someone's life. Being said, this was really good. I'm sorry, I don't know much about Maya at all. I don't know what her life was like. So this kind of gave me snapshots of what she went through and what her life was like. If you know anything about her, you may know this, but definitely heavy trigger / content warning for domestic abuse / assault. It was graphic and I wasn't expecting it, so know that going in. There is also a little bit of mention of suicidal thoughts, and I think reading that as well, I was like, I don't feel comfortable rating this. I don't feel comfortable rating a book from a Black woman about her experiences in life. It makes me uncomfortable. It's not my place to rate. Being said, I did really enjoy it. I think she was an amazing writer, and this was beautifully written, honestly, and it was really interesting hearing just different things about her and her life and the things that she went through, and her being brutally honest about when she did something that was maybe embarrassing or maybe something that wasn't as polite and then she felt bad about, and it was just really interesting. I do recommend it. I do highly recommend it. The very last book that I read, which was really the chunk of my ratings, really carried me, is Into the Drowning Deep by Meyer Grant, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Wow. This is a book about mermaids, and it is very good, and I love it. This was captivating. Truly, there are so many elements of this book that I like. Do recommend, if you're going into this, don't think that it's a light novel. There's a lot of detail, there's a lot of names, there's a lot of things you have to keep track of for like the first half of the book, but it ends up being worth it in the end. So it's definitely a book I recommend. If you're going to listen to it, at least have a physical copy that you can read along with it, because that to me is how I got the best reading experience. I feel like there are so many moving parts to this, and I love when there are so many moving parts and then we see them all connect. I love that. I love when we start a book and we meet all of our characters and then we see how they connect and then we see them interact, and then I love one of my favorite things that an author does, I think, is a sign of a very well written book, when you're from the viewpoint of a certain character and you're getting their thoughts and their feelings and how they view themselves and how they view others and all this stuff. And then when you get a different POV and you see that what people perceive of us versus what we perceive of ourselves a lot of the time does differ, and I love when a book does that. I think Grant, aka Sean McGuire, did this beautifully. I could see the different ways that the characters looked at each other, and then I loved seeing the characters themselves from their own viewpoint. It was so well done. Not that this is what I would call a character-driven story. It's definitely driven by the plot, but it was interesting to hear about all of these different people and all of the different reasons as to why they were doing the things that they were doing. Honestly, I didn't expect a single thing of what happened in this book. The whole thing blew me away. It was unexpected. It was definitely a nail biter. It kept me on the edge of my seat till the very end. I loved it, and I thought it was really good. Definitely sci-fi. Definitely probably horror as well. It's definitely intense. Not for the faint of heart. It was definitely scary. It's not a book I would read past 7 p.m. But it was great. The only critique that I have, which isn't of the book really, it's of the narrator. I didn't think that this narrator was good whatsoever. I don't even know the narrator's name. I just know it wasn't good, and I didn't like who it was. It wasn't my favorite listening experience, but it was a wonderful book, and I highly recommend. And those were all the books that I read in the month of February. Not very many. So I completed, I think, 3 of the challenges for the Woody's Roundup Readathon. I think I completed Bo Peep, a book with a disabled main character. One of the main characters in this book is autistic, so there's that. I don't know about the representation though. Don't quote me on that though. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. The next one is Giggle McDimples, a book that has a focus on law or law enforcement. And for that, I obviously picked The Dream by Agatha Christie. The next book is Duck and Bunny, a book with inseparable characters. And for that, I picked Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Enough said. Now for my TBR jar, I completed 2 of the challenges that I picked out. I obviously read a BIPOC book, and that was Letters to My Daughter, and a book under 200 pages, which is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Picking time. We'll start with 2. Ooh, a fantasy book. Okay. All you can see is my ugly hands. You see it? Read a graphic novel / manga. Okay, those are easy, so we'll pick another one. Continuous series, which was the one that I didn't finish this last month. Was my February wrap-up / March TBR thing. Okay, I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you read in February, how your reading month was, how your month in general was. Mine was pretty terrible. Bye. TTYL.